Brisbane City Hall. This is the largest city hall in Australia. It took 10 years to build. The whole site covers 2 acres. There are 573 rooms in the building, and at the time of its construction in the 1920s, it was the second most expensive building project in Australia, right behind the Sydney Harbour Bridge. Before the building went up, this was the site of a horse paddock, an animal sales yard, a roller skating rink, and Brisbane's first roller coaster. So before we step inside the building, let's take a little step back in time to see what this area was like before European settlement. So Wheat Creek begins up here at the Brisbane Grammar School. Actually, there were a couple of little courses of Wheat Creek flowing down the hill, and now I'm outside the law courts, and in this grassy area was the site of Brisbane's first freshwater reservoir. It was dammed up at that end. The only problem with the reservoir is that there were cows on either side of it, and they would get in here and drink from it and make a mess and fall in onto City Hall. Wheat Creek continued to flow in a south and easterly direction, and then it passed under the future site of the City Hall, where it formed a swampy lagoon. Just leaving Adelaide Street now, still following the course of Wheat Creek, and as you can see, we're getting far below ground level because down here is where Wheat Creek used to flow. Well, this is the original ground surface. And finally, Wheat Creek comes down here past Creek Road, of course, that's how the Creek Road got its name. Came down here behind these banyan trees, did a loop around there, and then flowed into the Brisbane River just behind me there. So this bit of land here was set aside in 1889 for the purposes of planting these trees, and also as a site of urinals. The rent on this bit of ground was 1 peppercorn a year. King Charles III wants his rent for this bit of land. Brisbane City Council, or the Governor-General, will have to send him a peppercorn in payment. The first town hall was built at the western end of Queen Street in 1865. It was built from stone quarried at Breakfast Creek. The upper windows of the original building were all beautiful stained glass lead light. But the glass in all but 2 of the arches was destroyed in a massive hailstorm on the afternoon of the 28th of December, 1877. However, the building was too small for the growing city. So the time had come. Brisbane really did need a new and larger and more spectacular City Hall. There was discussion about building City Hall at this site in Fortitude Valley. The area was then later partially developed as a new Catholic cathedral. In 1917, a foundation stone was laid for the new City Hall to be built on Albert Street in the city. The foundation stone also included a time capsule. Jumping the gun somewhat, this was before any of the drawings of the building had been finalised. The stone was later moved and apparently lost, as was the time capsule. Architects Hall and Prentice submitted their designs for the building in November of 1919. The original cost of the building was about £480,000. That figure didn't last long. In 1920, the Prince of Wales laid this second foundation stone. That's the one that's in the building right now that you can see. As far as I know, Brisbane City Hall is the only building in the world that actually has 2 foundation stones. The overall architectural style of the building is known as neoclassical Italian Renaissance. And you can see those columns out the front there. The big ones in the front above the main entrance, they are Corinthian columns. And on either side of that, on the 2 wings either side of the main entrance, they are Ionic columns. The clock tower is inspired by St. Mark's Campanile, which is the bell tower of St. Mark's Basilica in Venice, Italy. The exterior is built from ashlar coursed sandstone from the Helidon district, near Ipswich. The white marble was used to create the staircase in the foyer, and that came from the same quarry in Tuscany in northern Italy that Michelangelo got his stone from to carve the statue of David. The sculptured pediment up there is known as a tympanum. It was designed and carved by Daphne Mayo. It took 14 months to complete. There is controversy about the design in its depiction of the treatment of Aboriginal people because, the thing's called, the progress of civilization? Yeah, the progress of civilization. So civilization is there in the middle with settlers and everyone spreading out, and the Indigenous people kind of getting pushed out of the way. And interestingly, Daphne Mayo also created the sculptures in Anzac Square, those reliefs of soldiers with cannons and equipment and everything else that you can see if you're on your way to Central Station. She did those as well. I remember when I first saw City Hall after moving up here from Sydney, and it was kind of grubby back then. This was before they did all the restoration work. Looks great now. Beautiful building, really well kept, and all nice, bright and shiny. Let's go and have a look. Here in the foyer, there's some very useful and interesting panels about the history of the building and the site. There's the old town hall just there, which I covered before, and also the work they did for the renovations and all the really bad condition the place was in. And there's the auditorium there. You can see all the works that were going on just there. So it really was a massive undertaking. I think there really was the possibility that the clock tower would come tumbling down.
Alright, so right now we are coming in. Nowadays this one is one of the oldest manual lifts in the city. This one is the biggest copper dome in the South Hemisphere.
This is part of the original copper dome of the auditorium. It was replaced because of damage, people throwing things from the clock tower, like coins, down onto the surface of the dome, and they had to actually replace the whole thing. So the copper dome that you see there today is the new one, it's the replacement. And it's got, this one here has the names and dates of workers who had worked inside the dome. Some signatures date back many decades. The design of the auditorium is modelled on the Pantheon in Rome. I guess you could say it's pretty much an Italian building. The huge pipe organ there behind me, up at the back of the stage, was built in 1892 in Liverpool in England. They were originally built for the exhibition building at Bowen Hills. They were moved here in 1927. Some of the people who are in charge of this auditorium took exception to me filming here until I told them that I actually had a shooting permit. Just come upstairs, and here there are two stained glass windows. Both of them show pretty much the same thing. Both have the old coat of arms of Brisbane, and underneath is the original motto for Brisbane, which was Conjunctus Viribus, and that of course is Latin for combined forces. Interesting fact, that wasn't actually the original motto for Brisbane. The original one was pray, hope and keep your pants on. And this is the guy here who designed this stained glass, William Bustard, like mustard with a B. That old Latin motto for Brisbane City, which was the Conjunctus Viribus, says here with united powers, combined powers. What that means is this was when Brisbane combined. We had all these different shires, and in 1925 they were all amalgamated into the Greater Brisbane City Council. So that's what they mean by combined forces. It's not some military thing, it's just bringing all these other little shires under the fold of Brisbane.
Discover the dark heart of the capital of the Sunshine State on the Bloody Brisbane CBD Crime Tour. Visit true crime scenes including the last public execution, the Regent Theatre shootout, the arcade murder, wartime crime, and the lady who vanished. Join me, Jack Sim, and my team of guides to discover Brisbane's criminal history. Book a public or private tour at crimetoursaustralia.com.au.
And it was somewhere up here on the first floor that there used to be a library. I remember when we moved here from Sydney, I would come to the library here. I remember coming upstairs from the foyer leading out into King George Square. It was up here somewhere. I don't know when the library closed. Nice place for a library. A wooden door from Brisbane House in Scotland. There's a little display here about Sir Thomas Brisbane. And he came from, Brisbane House at Largs in Scotland. He was the governor of New South Wales, and he was the guy who sent Oxley north to find the site for another potential penal settlement. That, of course, became the Moreton Bay settlement and then later Brisbane. But this door here is the main entrance door from Brisbane House in Scotland. And it was presented to the city in 1958. Currently in Brisbane City Hall shooting my new video. Fascinating place. However, unfortunately, I've been stopped 3 times by staff and security telling me I can't be here even though I've got a shooting permit. And it was in 1930 that City Hall was officially opened by the Governor of Queensland, Sir John Goodwin. He's the one on the right. In 1938, Albert Square was renamed as King George Square. In 1939, a young man purchased an air rifle from a toy store just across the road from City Hall. The toy store is long gone. And for whatever reason known only to him, he decided to take a few pot shots at City Hall. He damaged 4 window panes. Wow. It's very easy to think of City Hall as just that old building where there's a museum and a clock tower, but this was the beating heart of Brisbane. For decades, this was the place you came to pay your bills, to interact with council. There was daycare here, there was a youth entertainment centre downstairs. US soldiers used the building, obviously with the signature wall. The city functioned through here. It was the municipal heart of Brisbane.
But to the people of Brisbane, it is more than a landmark. It's the very heart of the city, the hub of municipal affairs, a busy, complex establishment which watches over the welfare of the community and maintains a yearly turnover of more than £10 million.
In 1968, the stretch of Albert Street outside City Hall was closed, and construction was begun on a large underground car park. The area in front of City Hall was then raised to make it level with the front entrance. And there were 2 fountains that had to be removed. And right here on Preston Road at Wynnum West is one of those 2 fountains. It was reassembled here many years ago and was still a working fountain. As you can see now, it's really just a big plant pot. The second fountain, that's just vanished. Nobody knows what happened to it. On the 31st of December 2009, City Hall closed for 3 years as major renovation works were undertaken, involving significant work required to stabilise the building. In 2010, a cobblestone drain and paving was discovered during an archaeological excavation as part of the restoration. These elements under the building date from the 1880s, when the site was converted from swampland into council yards. That's the only original foundation left. This has got the concrete cancer in it, but they've left this here as a reminder of how the foundations were originally built. I've lost my tour. Wow, amazing. City Hall reopened in 2013 after several years of renovation and repair. Around about the time of reopening, there was a time capsule put into the wall, in one of the walls in the Auditorium. Time capsule will be open in 2059, which will be the 200th anniversary of the municipality of Brisbane. 2059, that means I'll be 88? Wow. I'll come back and make another video and see how far I get. Trying to find the Sister Cities room. thought that was up here somewhere. I've been there before, now I can't find it. I'll go back downstairs to the starting point and see if I can retrace my steps. This city's room is on level 3. No, it's on level 2. Ah, here we are. I'm trying to find the source of the Nile. So these are all the cities that Brisbane is twinned with, and they seem to be mostly in Asia, except for New Zealand with Auckland. And so there's little gifts in here gifts from other cities that they've given to Brisbane, and they're all on display in this cabinet. It's a lovely little display. Also a nice view out of King George Square as well. You can see out there one of the Ionic columns, the top of the column. It's amazing to be so close to it because you generally see it down there in King George Square and it looks so huge and massive and far away. You almost reach out and touch it here. This here is the beautiful entrance to the Balmoral room, one of several rooms here that the public can use. You book them, you can have various events and meetings and gatherings and that sort of thing. So there's a number of these rooms. There's a Sherwood room and wow, what's that? Old house there, some of the old houses. What a beautiful place. And I've noticed here in the Balmoral room, there's the old Latin motto for Brisbane, which is Conjunctus Viribus. Viribus, yeah. So there's the old one, it's still there. So it shows that these fittings were from the 1920s. These lights. Feel you could run an empire from this room. It's incredible to think this building is nearly 100 years old. It was opened in 1930, so that's what... Hello. All right, I'm being removed again. I've got to go talk to more security. It shuts automatically, yeah. All right, so where do we find security?
Yeah, we're just going to go down to the foyer.
Down to the foyer. I'm off to find security. She said it's round to the right. It's a fire safety door. Security. I don't know where security is. Security. Vlogger in the building. Let's all panic.